This video will go over how to install the Thermonet Underfloor heating mat system. Your Thermonet kit will include the heating mat and your thermostat, which includes the floor sensor and conduit, the mat monitor, the instructions, and test certificate. Before you begin laying the heating, the room needs to be ready for tiling. This includes 4 important steps. Firstly, make sure the room is clear and the floor is swept or mopped free of any dust or debris. Once the floor is clear, mark out any permanent fixtures, such as the toilet and vanity on the floor, as the heating will not run in these areas. Next, test the heating cable to ensure the resistance reading and ohms reading reflect the factory test certificate, and enter these on the customer handover page in the instructions. Finally, measure out the room and work out a plan of how you are going to run the mat across the room. Remember, under no circumstances can the cable be cut to either shorten or lengthen the cable. Begin from the thermostat point and install the floor sensor. The floor sensor is installed into the smaller black conduit, which is provided with the thermostat. Feed this black conduit and sensor up the first conduit in the wall to the thermostat position. You can now begin rolling the mat out across the room following your planned layout. We recommend installing the heating 50 to 100 millimeters away from the wall. Once you reach an obstacle such as a wall or fixture, use a pair of scissors or knife to cut through the mesh, taking care not to cut the cable. Once you have cut the mesh, you will be able to turn the mat to allow you to continue to roll out the remaining heating mat. Take note of which loop in the mesh you cut. Make sure that you are cutting through a loop on the same side as you want to twist the mat towards, as this will make maneuvering the mat a lot easier. Continue to run the mat out across the room. The Thermonet system is IP68 rated, which means it's safe for use installing in a tiled shower. The advantage of heating in showers is that it dries the shower area quicker, therefore reducing the slip hazard and likelihood of mold growth. It's not recommended to start or finish in the shower area. When approaching fixtures such as a floor waste, simply cut the cable off the mesh and adapt it to loosely run around the floor waste without damaging the cable. Remember to keep a consistent cable spacing away from the fixture. You can remove the cable from the mat and loose run the cable at any time to help with adapting the mat to suit your room requirements. The Thermonet cable is a specially designed resistance cable, which means it cannot be lengthened or shortened, so ensure the entire heating cable is correctly installed in the room. If you have a small amount of excess cable at the end, you can remove this from the mesh and run a single line of cable along the edge of your room in the perimeter zone. Once you have run out the complete mat across the room, go back and peel the plastic off from the underside of the heating mat to expose the self-adhesive film. Work your way back through the room, fixing the matting down to the substrate. If you have a slightly sandy or rough substrate, you may need to use some cloth weave tape to help stick down the edges of the mesh. Use tape to fix any loose strands of heating cable, like around the floor waste, into position. Remember to tuck the tape tightly around the cable to ensure there is no air pocket between the cable and the tape. Once the mat has been laid out and fixed in position, you need to fix the floor sensor and conduit in position. Position the floor sensor so that it is sitting between 2 runs of heating cable near the thermostat position and fix in position. If you are going to be tiling directly over the heating cable, you may need to groove this into conduit the substrate. Before your installation is complete, you need to retest the heating cable and record the results and your details on the customer handover page in the installation guide. Once you have finished your tests, take some pictures of the final installation for warranty purposes. After testing, reinstall the mat alarm onto the end of the cold tail. This will alert of any damage while the floor finish is being laid. The mat will still require a final test once the floor finish has been laid. The Thermonet 150-watt mats were designed to be tiled directly over the heating mat, while the Thermonet 200-watt mats give you the option to cover the heating with a screed prior to tiling. Remember to minimize foot traffic over the heating and to take care not to damage the cable when laying the floor finish. Your installation is now complete.